I did. I had dreams. I even wished on a star. Sounds cheesy, but I did. And then all of a sudden, he's here. We waited about a year for like him too, because he was in an abusive relationship. You name it, it was bad. He was young. He had maybe three, and then he just didn't want to do it anymore. And then he met me, but I was sick. I and I was. We went to go eat out to eat with his friends, and I got food poisoning,
Mm.
and I ended up throwing up in the seat. And I hear Michael coming. I'm freaking out. I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna hit me. He's gonna hit me. He's gonna hit me. Not once did Michael lay a hand on me, ever. We were still dating in the beginning. Because this is when we first moved here. We were only together a year, so this is our second year when I got sick. And he just leans over and pats me on the head, kisses me, and says everything's gonna be okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Healing Hearts podcast, hosted by Joshua Dixon and Kristina Meloy. And she's also the very first Admireware ambassador, and is just such a great family member to the Admireware family. But before I get started, the Admireware Healing Hearts podcast is a show that focuses on mental health awareness, suicide prevention, focusing on self-care, healing, and topics regarding mental health. Some of the discussions are often hard to talk about, but those discussions also make us better. And Kristina is just such an amazing person. She's an animal lover, she's a mom, she's a devoted and loving wife. But she has such a kind heart that she wears on her shoulder, on her arm at all times. And throughout her years of adversity and going through many different challenges throughout her life, she's always put herself and the needs of others before anything else. Always tending to others, speaking up and caring about those who may not be able to speak up and care about themselves have been a kind of this thread that has held her along before she even gained her own courage to take care of herself. And welcome you, Kristina.
You're gonna make
Thank you for being here. I was just gonna say I hope I'm not gonna make you cry, but it's just always it was always my idea. Once I figured out how to have a guest, you were going to be the first one, because I definitely see you being like the older version of Josh, but you've been through so many different adversities than even myself, but yet we relate on so many different levels, because there's just some threads there that we can just attest to, and we're survivors of. So I just want to applaud you and commemorate you for that, because you've been through it. You've been really through it, and you've been, just giving back so much to this world, and you're still continuing to do that.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how your journey got you here today.
Oh boy. That's a um.
You can share all you want.
I
You can not
share the
share what you
bad
want.
to the good to the well. I Let's see. All right. When I was 11, um, that's when the bad happened. Okay. I remember I was. Am I allowed to talk about this? I'm double checking with you.
No, you could talk about it.
Okay.
You could talk about what you feel comfortable with.
Okay. I had a really good childhood until I was 11, but I wanted to go skating so bad. Like, I really wanted to go skating, and my mom was busy with my little brother. and I decided to go skating anyway. He said to stay in front of the house, don't go past this location, and I started going fast, and then the next thing you know, I go past the woods. You're not supposed to go past the woods. I remember his voice. I remember him chewing cinnamon gum, which I, to this day, it's a trigger for me. I just, yeah. But my mom found me sunburned to hell, blistered up, and yeah, that was the first time. And I did what I could do is bury it. Didn't know what to really do because you're 11. You don't know.
Right.
So I leaned in and I talked to a cousin of mine. He decided to have fun too. Of course, I once everybody found out, I was labeled the bad guy. And then I decided to hang out with the wrong crowd. You know how that goes. Gang life.
Yeah.
But let's see. And then when I was my 18th birthday, I was ganged hard. I don't know if I should say the word, but yeah. And that's when I started hitting my birthday, and then I turned to drugs. Pills. Pills was my thing. I mean, I would do the occasional cocaine, but pills was my thing. Uppers, and it would vary. I would everything. Like it would numb everything. I wouldn't think of anything, you know. And then my parents passed in 2008, and my brother found me on the kitchen floor. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. That was my first attempt,
Okay.
of suicide. That was my first attempt. Take a cocktail, you know. But then at the time I was living out on the street, homeless. After that, I don't know what happened, but I couldn't live with my brother and his wife at the time because I think they were living with her family. But yeah, so I was homeless, living on the streets, still doing drugs, and then I got clean after that for a while because my son seen me in the hospital, and yeah, that's when I was like, no, I'm gonna get clean. So I got clean, and I stopped the alcohol. 'Cause alcohol, it's another thing to bury it. Um, and then I got with my abusive ex. Should I elaborate more on that?
No, you can share as much as you want,
I didn't
and
have much. Okay,
whatever you don't, it's
I'm gonna
totally
listen
fine.
though.
We're here to listen and care for you and provide a safe environment for you,
Okay.
judge free.
So, first 2 years I was with him, it was aggressive and abusive, and he cheated. But when I got out, I had a family like pay for my way home to Texas, and what the dumbass did was take a pill just to numb. I just wanted to numb it, all the pain and the heartache. I actually, after so long of being clean, and then I ended up taking, so I slipped, and then my dumbass ended up getting on the phone with him, and he said that he had cancer. So what did I do? I went back. And that's when I met my best friend Renee.
I
My
remember you telling me about Renee.
Oh my God, she's my saving grace. She taught me how to love myself again. I was 450 pounds. 450 pounds. Hating myself, wanting to kill myself. She stopped me.
And how did you guys bond developed? How was she able to be that mentor for you?
Well, at first, she was this gorgeous girl who I thought was stuck up. That's the thing about people, they assume. He, like, I don't know, the power went out. We all went outside, and there was a fight down the road. Somebody was fighting. And me and her just started talking. We just started talking. She was drinking, and, like, she was a Southern belle, like, yaller, yaller. She hears it. She's going to laugh at me. Oh my God. But anyway, but yeah, and then slowly every day I'd go check the mail and we would talk because I wasn't allowed to leave. I was like, that was my prison, is that trailer. And he had a husky named Mia, and we would talk every time I'd go check the mail. And then our bond just started progressing, and I would tell her a little more. And then she asked me one day, she goes, "Why do you dumb yourself down so much when he's around?" And I didn't realize I do it. And I'm like, I do. So yeah, I would confide in her. She knew everything. She hated him. But then it got to the point to where he was comfortable going over there. Like she was trying to, I don't know if she was trying to like open her arms to him to where he would trust me to be around her without him around. But it worked. So I was allowed to go over there at any given time.
Nice.
Like, we bonded so close that she trusted me with her kids. Like I would clean our house, like the whole shebang went because her husband had kidney was fighting kidney disease. He had to have surgery, a kidney replacement. Yeah, and so I kept an eye on the kids and everything. But what happened was he forced me to marry him. NyQuil was his thing. This is why I do not like NyQuil. I don't want it around my house. Nothing. He would dope me up with it. I walked out that night after we so called got married. We got married, but I didn't want to get married. But he was having sex on the couch with another girl, and I interrupted. He took a frying pan to my head. So I've had a lot of head damage. Like when you say bubble wrap, they really want to wrap me in bubble wrap. But I had to put
I'm sorry that you. I was just like, man, I'm sorry that you had to endure so much, but
that
that
just a little.
resilience and perseverance,
Yeah.
and you've just been a social butterfly this whole time.
Yep.
This whole time, even that moment of being a social butterfly saved you. Later ended up saving you.
Yeah, it did, and like
And even then you wanted to help him. It wasn't that you just wanted to be around this person who was your abuser, but it was like this person called you and said that they needed help and you went to go help. So I hope that you don't guilt trip yourself for that, for being a kind person, for wanting to just be there, to be supportive.
yeah. Like that's when I found out he didn't have cancer, was the fact that we had to go to the hospital and he was sick and he was like running a fever, and the doctor asked, "Well, what is everything that you have that you were dealing with?" And I said, "Well, there's the cancer," and he gave me that. look. And I knew, oh shit, this motherfucker, she's hungry. I was in line the whole time.
No, it's okay. You can curse on here. I've actually made the podcast to where we can use free language as long as we're not hurting anyone.
But yeah, so it came to the point where I was staying at Renee's house and I went home to grab one more thing and I got to the point where she had me standing up for myself. So I snapped off at him. And he was in the middle of, I think if he wouldn't have saved me, I would be dead right now. She's my saving grace. She saved my life.
How have you and Christina's, I mean, not you and Renee's relationship has developed over these years? So I know she's not up there in Wisconsin, right? She's still in
No, she's in Kentucky.
Kansas,
No. She's in Kentucky. She's
Kentucky.
from Florida to Kentucky. They're actually building their house right now. They
Okay,
planned and now they're building a house. I told her she needs to build another house for me so I can come visit.
that's sick.
Yeah, that's what they do for a living. They're in construction. They build houses.
That's sick.
Yeah. And we talk. Yeah, we do. We talk. She calls me sis. I call her sis. We're family. Period.
How has family helped you throughout all this? Because you did mention that you did have relapse a few times. Um, I don't know if you've mentioned like the whether you were aggressive during those times or have you broken any relationships with family throughout those times, but how were you able to stick with them throughout those difficult times or keep in touch with them? Because you seem very, very close with family. I've seen your photos on your social
Oh,
media.
yeah, well,
I mean, you send them to me. You
me,
guys are just one loving family, and I would have never known that any of this have ever occurred. Because I mean, you're just so strong and remarkable, and you're just doing a great job of not only taking care of yourself and fostering a safe community around you, but you're also in a way living life freely for the first time without toxicity being added to your life.
now, it didn't happen that way. Like, it gradually with the family, it got there because my brother and my sister-in-law lost their place in Hurricane Harvey. They lost everything.
Mm.
It took them a year to come up here. They came up and got clean. And then they lived with us. And then, 38 years old, I was told I was going to live to see 40. They got the news. I got the news. And we just like grew stronger together as a whole. I mean, because we weren't, even though they lived here, we weren't that close, you know. But once that happened, we became closer. Okay, so they, I signed up to have bariatric surgery
Okay.
because I have kidney disease, stage 2. It's I can change it basically. Reverse it's I'm in that reverse stage where I can change it if I get healthy. So basically, I did the surgery. Well, I lost 50 pounds before the surgery, and it was a week before surgery when I got on TikTok. And the first person I seen on TikTok was Mama Tot.
Mama Todd.
Oh my gosh, seeing that and having her wanting to sit with you and everything at that time, I was feeling like I was going to commit suicide. And she sat with me like through TikTok, and it felt like she was really there. And that's when I knew if I live through this, I'm gonna be a mental health content creator. Like, advocate, counselor, something. And that's what I'm gonna do. So here I am. But yeah, so I had the surgery, and then after the surgery, I had my gallbladder out, and then I had a hernia, and then an ulcer, and that's when they found the cancer, the tumor on my kidney,
Mm.
and that's when I found you.
Wow, so this is all recent.
Yes, yes, yes. I like when Mama Tot mentioned you, it was like you resonated with me. It was like you were a soul brother. You know what I mean? Like I've known you, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you feel like you've known them your whole life.
Yeah.
So, but
I
they
definitely can relate to that. You said that again?
um
Say that last part again?
they froze the tumor. I'm okay.
Awesome. I'm thankful to hear that. I didn't even know that they can freeze
Yeah, it's
tumors. I remember you telling me about that recently.
cryoablation. You love looking up stuff like that. So it's called cryoablation, and they
So is it just frozen?
they just froze the tumor. If they would have touched it, the cancer would have spread. It's better to do it this way instead of taking part of my kidney. They're trying new,
That's fair.
so that's what they did, and I guess it worked. And I did a TikTok of me being in the hospital and the whole thing after that. So yeah,
I'm gonna have to go back and see that.
yeah, you could.
So is it
I was
frozen? Is it frozen inside of you, or did they freeze
everything.
it?
Yeah.
Did they? Is it frozen inside of you, or did they freeze it and then take the part and then throw it away?
Oh, it's frozen. Like my hip down in here is numb from it being frozen.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's sick. That's really sick.
yeah,
When you talk about Mama Todd and her sit downs, and for anyone that doesn't know, Mama Todd occasionally will make a video basically, and she sits the camera up in a way as if she's having a conversation with you, as if she's having a dinner with you, having a lunch with you, having a breakfast talk with you. She basically just comforts you as if you're one of her children, and that's Mama Tot. She's Mama Tot, and all of her followers and her family are what she calls her baby tots or her tater tots.
yep.
And I remember finding one of her videos before she even reached out to me through Admireware. But I remember finding one of her sit down videos, and I just sat there and just was just like receptive of all of that unconditional love and care. At that same time, I was making videos for Admirer and helping people and sharing my story, sharing the journey and the ups and downs, and how being really open with sharing how isolating I think it is to be a survivor of suicide or be a survivor of domestic violence, and even being a guy speaking out about that. I've been called names and I've been called out and all of this other different stuff. It's really it's moments where you feel like there's no place for you in this world. And there was one of my goals was, as I was constructing Admireware and there was like barely any followers, I wanted it to be a place where people who may feel left out of the conversation, who may not have a plate at the dinner table, or may have a plate at the dinner table, but but everyone acts like they don't exist. That Admireware can be a place for them, can be a safe haven for them. So seeing a Mama Todd video, seeing her sit down video, gave me that welcoming feeling. I felt like I was a well deserved tater tot, even though I have this very diverse and very different background than most people. Um, I mean, I'm just like 20, I'm 24, but I'm a survivor of, like, just like you, I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I have self harm. I have cut myself before. I've had surgeries. I have health problems.
Yeah.
Um, just in going through those experiences, I've often felt like each time, each time I go through a trauma that's very, very peculiar, that it even like hurts to talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm stepping more into isolation from society, because now I have that another layer or another cut on my heart, and now that people see that, they're just like, wow. So not only you've been through this, which I knew about, but now you've also gone through that, and now they're trying to figure out how do they deal with the situation. It's just like, I just need you to be there. I just need you to show up and just be there
Yeah.
when I need you to be there, rather than just showing up when I'm just doing great. I need you to also be there when I'm not doing great.
You're at the rock bottom.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that, and then that rock bottom state is somewhat where a lot of that growth comes from. You were at a very low rock bottom, and you built that alliance with Renee, and Renee taught you so much. Taught you so much.
Yeah, she's also the one that told me to give Michael a chance when I was going to give up on men because I'm bisexual. And when Michael and I were just a friend, and I thought he was cute on Anime Amino, and then I talked him into asking me out. Did you want me to talk about
How
that?
you talk someone into yeah? How do you talk someone into asking you out? Also, tell us about Michael, because I
Oh,
don't know if any of you
Michael,
guys know,
Michael,
but
Michael, Michael.
these two are so cute.
He's everything. Oh my god, if he was to show up right now, I'd be screaming up and down. I'd be like jumped up and down screaming. It's like we're 10 years of being together, and it's like we're in our puppy dog stage. Like we first started dating. It's that cute. Let's see. So we were friends and for about a year, and I told him I had asked him if I lived in near him, would he ever date me? And he said yes. And when I saw that yes, I inside I'm jumping up and down for joy, like, oh my god, he likes me. Dang you, Renee. But yeah. So I go, but why don't you ask me out? I don't want to do long distance relationship. Well, I'll be going back to Texas when you're in Wisconsin. I could probably see you in about 6 months. We'll make it work. He's like, I don't know. And I go, come on. He's like, okay. And he nervously over the phone asked me out at
That's so
11:30
cute.
in the morning. And I said yes. And then we dated long distance, and it was 7 months when he came to visit me in Texas when I was back. But we had to wait till I was in Texas to say that we were dating or on the way to Texas because he wanted to protect me for my safety because he knew about
Okay.
my abusive ex. So
Yes.
he came down to Texas and his bus kept breaking down. And we never thought he was going to get there because there was something going on with the buses. So as soon as he finally made it, he walked that corner, can't even talk, and I ran to him and yelled, "Baby!" Threw my arms around him, the whole movie shebang thing.
Yeah.
And I told him everything then that night. When before we went to bed, I told him
Wow.
everything, like all the parts. And he was crying, I was crying, and I told him my health isn't the greatest either. I'm empathic, and I don't know, something told me that my health wasn't going to be that great. And he said, doesn't matter. He's going to stick with me, and we were going to stick it out. So we went to the boardwalk the next night, and he promised himself to me because I tried to do it first. He wouldn't let me. So yeah, The week was amazing. He didn't want to go back home. He wanted to stay, but I told him he has to tie up loose ends. So around close to June, he moved to Texas. We
Okay.
weren't even there long. Like till the June 28th, we were up here in Wisconsin because of his health. He had bad seizure issues.
Okay.
So instead of me coming up later because of the dangers on the bus, he told me he wanted me to go up then instead of saving up money,
Okay.
all that. So I went with him. And
And it's been history ever since.
yeah, I mean, I put him through hell, Josh. I almost broke my neck, and then I'm clean from pills, all that. I almost broke my neck. Um, hurt my back, and then my brother came up and visited, and he was, you know, an addict at the time. But I was taking a little more and a little more, and then yeah, I sought help. So now I'm officially 7 years sober. Period. Thank you. And as of today, I am 13 years alcohol free.
Hell yeah.
Today, and I'm so glad I got to be on here to celebrate that with you. But they ended up putting me on some depression meds because of the whole PTSD thing.
Okay.
That's when I tried to kill myself. Michael never seen that part of me. So I thought that it's on an allergy now. I quit taking it and I wasn't depressed and stuff. But later on, I started battling depression because of my health. It got bad. So I am battling depression, anxiety, but I am on meds and I see two counselors.
Would you like to tell people about how what was that journey like to go from having so many toxic, abusive, romantic relationships your whole entire life? And I don't know if this was how it was growing up either, but you said that a lot of this toxicity regarding around sexuality, regarding around body, regarding around people revoking and taking control over you for all of these years since you were 11, since you were just an innocent kid that's still learning about this world, all the way up until you got with Michael. It's like that moment, that it was like an aha moment for you where you finally like discovered that unconditional reciprocated love. So how can you describe that journey, going from all of that hurt and trauma for those many years,
Oh
and then
man.
seeing and then having Michael just take those band-aids off of your heart and just hold it?
Aw. You are a very well poet. You are. You're just the way you do your words, man. Okay. I thought I loved once before Michael. It wasn't love. It really wasn't. Um, I pretended to love to protect myself, if that makes sense.
No, that's fine.
Because I thought that's what love was. Being hit, constantly getting hit, raped, trafficked. God, that's it. You're supposed to give yourself to someone constantly to make them happy, even when you say no. You're tired, you want to sleep, but no, they want it right then and there. I numbed myself, basically. I did. I didn't give up hope, though. I kept having dreams of my soulmate. I did. I had dreams. I even wished on a star. Sounds cheesy, but I did. And then all of a sudden, he's here.
He's here.
We waited about a year for like him too because he was in an abusive relationship, you name it. It was bad. He was young. He had maybe 3, and then he just didn't want to do it anymore, and then he met me. But I was sick. I and I was we went to go eat out to eat with his friends, and I got food poisoning,
Mm.
and I ended up throwing up in the seat. And I hear Michael coming. I'm freaking out. I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna hit me. He's gonna hit me. He's gonna hit me. Not once did Michael lay a hand on me ever. We were still dating in the beginning because this is when we first moved here. We were only together a year, so this is our second year when I got sick. And he just leans over and pats me on the head, kisses me, and says everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And then he cleans it up. He has gloves on, and I'm over here like can't get off the toilet because I'm so sick. He brought me a bowl to throw up in because I don't know what happened to the trash can at the time that we had in the restroom. And right then and there is when I realized that he really truly loved me. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just dabbed a couple of tears out of my eyes too.
That's when right there, and then the fact that I put him through hell and he's still with me. We just actually had a talk about this the other night, and I said, I am so sorry for all ever putting you through hell. He goes, honey, it's okay. I love you so much. And you're doing better, and you're clean now, and we've had nothing but happy stuff. I mean, sure, yeah, like he loses a job, I lose a job, and we get knocked back down a peg, but we still try to make it. With me and
And
him.
you both make each other better.
Yeah, I mean, like with me and him, we don't have to go to some fancy dinner, you know. I'm happy if we just go have a picnic at the park or just me and him watching anime. Yes, we're anime lovers, okay?
What's your favorite right now? What's your favorite to watch with him right now?
Oh, we're watching 4 right now together. Demon
Okay.
Slayer. We just finished that up. We're rewatching it in dub. Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. We're watching that right
Okay.
now. And then we're watching My Happy Marriage on Netflix because he likes
Oh, okay. I'm gonna check that one out.
cheesy and I'm the he calls it chill when I do that because I blush and get all excited.
Yeah.
Our first anime together was Clannad. That's why I have it tattooed on my arm.
Nice.
That's the couple Clannad, and then Fruits Basket. But like that's why
That's sweet.
Michael is. Oh my gosh, he's everything.
He's your rock. He's your backbone.
Yes, he is.
And you've developed that healing and recovery revolving around the love, the unreciprocated love that he's been giving you all of these years.
Yeah. Yeah. He battles depression, or like he thinks of the S word every day. And I told him, you really think about it, you text me. That's our agreement, and he does. And he just finally got to talk to his counselor yesterday, and he's been waiting for months upon months. He had an opportunity
Trust
to
me.
see somebody else, but he trusts
Okay.
her. She used to be my counselor.
Okay.
Gave her up for him because he was comfortable with her. So meditation. Got to teach him how to meditate.
Meditation, I found out that meditation doesn't always work for everyone for the fact that there's some people cuz meditation really go for it.
Some people can't sit still and can't close off, but I'm hoping it will for him.
I'm hoping so too. Or even not even if it's not even just him closing his eyes, but it's just like um understanding his breath.
That's
And
what
that's
he's
one thing that I
doing.
do a lot is just focusing on my breath in the moment and focusing on how I'm breathing, how my shoulders are. Sometimes my shoulders get tense throughout certain situations. I have to remember just like relax, like
Yeah,
just like relax to be in tune with how my body's feeling. But I mean
that's actually helped me
you
a lot.
you guys are so cute.
What I know, we're cheesy macaroni. That's what he calls it.
Yeah, you guys are so cute, and that's definitely, I mean, a testament to your story. Through all of that, you still had that hope, that dream. You wished on that shooting star, and now look at you 10, 15 years later. I mean, I could even we can go back like 20 plus years later. You're actually here and you're still healing. I feel like everyone's always healing from something, that we're always recovering. We all have broken hearts, we all have healing hearts. And I don't believe in the word perfect. I don't believe in great either, not necessarily. Feel like great just kind of takes away the ability to improvise. I mean, to improve, the ability to go further. Because there's always something I can learn more. Something me and you could learn more. Even this conversation, I'm learning a lot from you. Just even having this conversation. That's why these conversations are so important. How do you feel about? Can you talk about your experience with being on medication to help you for your mental health, but also having two counselors? Because some people are very reluctant to receive any sort of medical care for their mental health, and they'd rather just duke it out with themselves and just
Oh yeah.
stay to themselves and kind of be their own therapist without doing how. Because on the other hand, for me, I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books on psychology by accredited psychologists of a who are accredited by institutions who says that what they're writing and what they support are actually beneficial to helping someone. Now, if I read something and then they say like, "Oh, this person is a controversial person," and I'm like, "All right, I'm not reading that book." But for me, a lot of my counseling, I have had counselors, and I haven't had to taken medication for my mental health, but I have had counselors throughout the years when I can afford it. I've also have waited several months for even one counselor when I needed counseling when I was a kid. But I have found it to be really helpful to read books. But that's just me. But for you, how can you explain your
Well,
experience with having that?
there's a reason why I'm on medication now. I swore it off when I was gonna kill myself that one time. I swore I'd never get on medication again. Sure, yeah, maybe I thought about it, but I said no. But the reason why I see two counselors, well, one is I have to see one at the place I go to because I am on maintenance medication called Suboxone to keep me off of opioids, the pills and all the uppers and stuff like that. And you have to see a counselor when you go there. And it's
Can you explain to us what maintenance medication is, to for people who may not have known, like, heard of maintenance medication before, or how it
um,
help regulate you, if you can, if
yeah,
any means necessary.
what I know about it, like at first I was on methadone, and it's a medicine that keeps you from having cravings and stuff like that. And it combats the cravings, the withdrawals, everything. At least this is what I
Okay.
know. I mean, I read up on it, but then, I didn't stay up on the studies. But the methadone was making me sick because I had cyclic vomiting syndrome, so I switched to Suboxone, which is
Okay.
the little film that I put on my tongue, and it
Okay.
keeps me from the cravings. And after having so many surgeries, I was taking pain meds to help with the pain. But I was on a lower dosage of the maintenance medication, so the pain meds can help. Because if I wasn't, the pain meds wouldn't help me at all.
Mm.
It kind of combats all that.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I mean, there's some other stuff that you could probably take besides those two. This is what I know so far. Um, but yeah, now that I've been on the Suboxone, I feel like I'm a normal person, but I have to take that in the morning.
Okay.
I can soon I will wean off of it when I'm ready, get off of it,
Right.
and then I'll be totally clean. Like totally perfect, because I have to if I want to be a counselor.
Mm.
I
So your goal is to be a counselor one day.
a
You can tell us as
counselor,
much
a
about that if
social
you want
worker,
to or not.
yeah, a counselor, a social worker. I just want to help people. That's it. I just want to help people because Mama Todd said that there's not enough nice people out there in this world, and we need more of them.
She. Yes.
And that's what I want to do. I feel like everything that I've ever done in my life, I want I could at least help one person. That's why I also became a content creator. Maybe I could reach out before I become a counselor. But
Yeah.
and I see my outside counselor because he's helping me with my PTSD.
Okay.
And I'm getting I'm at a comfortable rate right now. With all the tools and everything, nothing triggers me as much anymore. But there is one thing. The reason why excuse me, I'm adjusting
Go for it.
on this couch.
Take your time.
Uh, Dealing with everything with my health, back to back to back, it took a toll on me mentally
Mm-hmm.
to the point to where I had reached out to Michael and I told him, I'm thinking of the S word. We went to go see my nurse and we told her. And she told my doctor, and my doctor made time to squeeze in just to say hello. Didn't have an appointment and was like, you want to try depression meds just to give it a try. This is, we thank you for coming. It's a big deal to go tell them that that's how you're feeling. You want to still be here. You want the help. So I said, fine, I'll give it a try. And it's helped. It really has. And then talk like what you had said before our conversation that we're having now is you basically want to have a conversation with your feelings.
Yeah.
Some days you don't want to get out of bed. And that's okay. That's what I talk about on my TikTok. Like, is I can understand if you didn't get out of bed today. Everybody has bad days. Some have bad weeks. I
Yeah. Or
actually,
even bad years.
yeah, I've had it to where it was that bad, and I didn't even want to shower. I didn't want to do any of that. So when I went to Michael and asked him, well, I told him, and then he was so proud of me for telling him because at the time he was working at the hospital working at the ER. He used to clean the ERs, and his mental health was taking a crap. Like he wasn't even. He lost so much weight. He wasn't eating. It was bad. I told him to quit, but I had a job at the time, so we were okay. But now it was like my turn to say, "Hey, I need help." So
And what is your advice for anyone who's reluctant to ask for help, or
for help.
what is your advice for like just even reaching out your hand? I'll share my experience after you share yours. With because I've had two suicide attempts myself, and
Yeah, I know, and I'm
um,
like, you're a rock star to me. I'm proud of you.
thank
But
thank you.
um, you don't necessarily need to go to a family member if you do not feel like you are safe enough to ask for help. It's kind of like that whole coming out of the closet thing for pride. Talk to somebody you trust. Sometimes that helps too. I mean, you not necessarily need to, but seriously, even if it's a doctor or your best friend or just someone that
A colleague.
yeah, calling somebody. Just it I know it's hard because I used to harm myself. I used to the whole shebang. That's why I do on my TikTok. I say, hey, comment, I'll message you, or you can inbox me on Instagram. I'm here. That's why I do what I do is to help people because there are so many people who are hesitant to get help.
Yes.
There's so many people out there that need help and they're too scared to get help because people are going to judge them.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the judgment. Oh, this person's psycho because they need help. No, it's not like that. Mm-mm.
No.
You're human.
They just need guidance.
Yep.
Yeah, and that we're human, and all of these are a part of the human experience: being sad, being depressed, being
Yeah.
having anger, and also as like even being adult. Like I mean, I've only been adult for just not that long, but
Right.
I feel like a kid still with just more benefits. I feel like I'm still a kid with
Yeah.
more benefits. And the reason why I say I'm still a kid is because I've always had this idea that, oh, when you become adult, everything is kind of this set in stone thing. And as a kid, you're always told to learn, to listen, to learn, to that kids don't know anything. I've always been told when I was a kid that, oh, I don't know shit. Like, don't talk to me, don't talk about grown folks business because you don't know what the hell you're
Right.
talking about.
I've had that
that's what
happen.
that's how
Mhm.
yeah, I've grown up with that. But like now that being grown, I'm like, bro, I still don't know. Like there's still a lot of things that I still don't know. And I take a lot of comfort in that ability of not knowing, because even when it comes to struggling with mental health, I know that there's someone out there who's experienced in that, and that I should go and seek them. But even in my own journey with reaching out for help, my dad will always, I always think about him. Even when I started tearing up, I could just see him in the back of my mind. Is he will always call us, excuse my language to anyone, but he will always call us a bitch boy for crying.
Yeah,
Only
no,
bitch
you're not
boys
supposed to
cry.
cry. Those
Right,
we
right,
really
right. You,
practice that. They
yeah, like
can't
you're
have
not like,
emotions, but sorry.
yeah, and they can't. No, no, it's totally
Yeah.
fine. Men can have emotions, and the craziest thing about him was that I remember we were at my great grandmother's funeral, and me and my brother, we loved her so much. And I remember we looked at each other and acknowledged that me and him didn't cry. Like that was kind of the look that we had. We both were really sad, but we didn't shed not one tear. And we looked at each other, and we were our parents were in between us, so I was on My mom was next to me, and then on the side of her was my dad, and then on the side of him was my brother. We like leaned forward and looked at each other, and we just kind of gave each other that acknowledgement that like, okay, you didn't break character, basically. And the craziest thing was like my dad was actually crying though, and we were just like, what? So you could cry, but we can't cry?
Exactly.
But it was the trauma was already dead at that point. Like I was 11 or 12.
Yeah.
The trauma was just already kind of installed into me. And my brother is 7 years older than me. So he's probably about 17, 18 at that time. And so the trauma is already in us that like it's hard for us to be emotionally vulnerable and to just have those human emotions of crying, of moments of sorrow and moments of grief. We've just been told to just get up, dust it off, and to keep it pushing. And so when having the accident growing up, being attacked by two pit bulls, living with a abusive alcoholic father that kind of treated us like prisoners. Couldn't go outside without his permission. Sometimes you couldn't go to the bathroom without his permission. He used to think my mom was cheating on him with everyone at the hospital. So it was like he was questioning me at all times. Oh, so what was your mom doing at the hospital? She was changing my bandages. She was arguing with the nurses because the nurses weren't doing a great job of taking care of my infections, all of these different things. And when it came to dealing with him, dealing with the abusive toxicity with him and him wishing that he didn't have kids, which is something that I heard for many, many years, is that I wasn't wanted, that I wasn't enough for him, that I would never be the son. I would never be the son that he actually really wanted, which come to find out he never really did want kids. So he didn't want anything. Um, Dealing with him at home and then being in public and having strangers treat, I mean, literally I've had like most of the abuse that I've endured from people looking at me and judging me is from adults than it has been from kids. And that's like people get so shocked when I say that, but it's so true. I've had more adults be so mean to me than even kids. Kids are more so curious unless they're teenagers. The teenagers have learned that from adults. I always say that if a kid is calling me ugly, they've learned that from someone who's superior to them, who has called someone
Exactly.
else, who they've seen someone call them ugly. Having that hate, I mean, having that trauma from outside, having that trauma from inside of my life, and then going to school and having peers that I tested into this high school. It's a selective enrollment high school. It's a magna high school. So you test into it. It's supposed it was top 5 in Chicago. Dealing with bullying there, I'm just like, man, I can't escape this. Like I was like, this is going to be my life of always being in fight mode. I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
I got so exhausted of always fighting for my worth, always fighting for me to even say things. I've been in so many situations where people have told me to be quiet or shut up, and it's just like, damn, like people don't even probably know like back during them days they didn't even probably know what the sound of my voice was because I was just too scared to even talk because I didn't want someone to just bully me for even speaking. So I would stutter so much because I was so scared to get hit, to get things thrown at me, or to be like, ugh, why does he talk that way?
Mm.
when i had my when I was really breaking at about 15, 16 years old, um I had got a Facebook and I had lied about my age so that I can have a Facebook. And I'm friends with a lot of my family members, but at that time I didn't really like them like that, just for the fact that I already knew that a lot of family members had discarded me from many different family engagements and discarded my family because of not only the crazy stuff that was going on with my dad, but also a lot of people just felt uncomfortable with me being around because they just didn't know how to handle the situation without even asking. Um I just wrote this really, really long letter, and it's up on that My Where Healing Hearts blog. That I just wrote this really, really long letter, this suicide letter, and I had like this whole plan about going missing and no one never finding me. And if you did find me, I was already gone. Just basically explaining how I didn't want to keep going. I didn't want to keep fighting. I didn't want to have kids because I didn't want my kids to be scared of me. I didn't want my kids to be bullied because they have a dad who looks like me. I didn't want to be in a relationship because of all of these different jokes that I've been called, but also seeing that people who were my friends were being bullied because they're friends with me. So it's like, damn, like everyone I'm around, I'm apparently bringing them down, or they're apparently going through some sort of trauma themselves just by allowing me to be in their life. So basically, just to summarize this whole suicide note, I was just like, if I'm such a problem to everyone, if I'm so not worth just being alive in this world, like, I don't want to live in this world. I don't want to keep having surgeries. I don't want to get to the point where I'm happy with the way that I look, because a lot of my surgeries were to help me feel safe and normal with the comfortability of me looking. I can go outside and be comfortable with my face after having 80% of my face removed. A lot of that was just the 60 surgeries is reconstruction of getting back to a point of normalcy that I can feel happy with. But it's like, what's the point of going through all of this pain, these surgeries where I've almost died, or going through these infections and loss
If
and
you're
like
gonna be treated,
getting muscle bones? Huh?
if you're gonna be treated this way, I'm sorry. I'm trying to bite my
Right.
tongue because I want to be like a mama
No, it's
bear and
cool.
kill someone to treat you this way. People are
Nah, you
stupid.
don't. You don't have. They are. They're. Ignorance is bliss, and I think that there is a lot of fear mongering where people feel like if you look different, if you act different, or if you've been through more pain than me, then therefore you may not be good for my life. And then people
Yeah,
think of movies. I love horror movies. I love zombie films. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, but I think media culture, Hollywood definitely painted this depiction that ugly people do ugly things and they deserve ugly roles. And I definitely got the brute end of the consequences of Hollywood doing those choices. And I posted that letter, Facebook. My mom worked really hard. She had just split up from my dad. So now we're kind of living in a safe environment. That's where I live now. So now we're healing from the trauma that we've endured from my dad.
right,
But she's working really, really hard because she's trying to take care of all the bills. So we didn't spend that much time together. And so a few days go past, and she finally gets to read this letter, and it's like in the middle of the night. And she comes in my room screaming at me and just like, "What the hell? Like, I didn't know any of this was going on. What's actually going on?" I mean, she really confronted me on my shit. Like, really confronted me because she read this. I think it's like 800 or 900 words that I posted on Facebook, and I hid it all from her. I did a really great job of hiding it all. The only parts of me that I portrayed was just the kindness that I have. But I never portrayed that pain. I portrayed all of the kindness, the love that my heart has, but never portrayed that pain that I actually was going through all of those years. And so we had that conversation where we screamed at one another, and she was just like, "I'm taking you to go get help." And I'm like, "I don't want to go get help. I don't want to be here in this world. There's no point of me doing that."
right.
And she had found out that I was doing Photoshop art, like that I was making art um on my laptop, and I wasn't really telling anyone about that. But she was just like, "I don't want you to be like a modern Van Gogh." I didn't know who Van Gogh was. She was like, and she explained it to me that Van Gogh is an artist who who died by suicide, and people misunderstood him. That a lot of his mental health was painted out, and that he was having these cries out for help, but not a lot of people understood him, and they just depicted him as this crazy Dutch guy, and they bullied him, threw things at him, ripped a lot of his paintings, and that depression really got to him, and they learned a lot about his life after he was gone rather than him telling people about it.
And look how
She's like, "I
famous
don't
he
want you to
is.
be like that." Huh?
And look how famous he is because he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's gone, and she didn't want me to go through that. And that like really broke me down hearing that. Also, Van Gogh is my favorite artist. Um, so she checked me into counseling the next week. She took time off of work. The bills struggled, but she didn't want to lose another kid. We have a sister in between me and my brother, but she was born early and she passed away. I think she was only here in this world for about 6 months. She passed away because our lungs were underdeveloped, and at that time, they weren't scanning for those kind of things in newborns, especially in premature kids in the 90s. Um, so she didn't want to lose another kid. And she knew that because of everything that I've been through and I've been hiding it for so long, she wanted to be a part of everything, and she was. And I was like so mean to her. I would definitely, my words were some of the ugliest things I can say. Like if I really came home from a harsh day of being bullied, I definitely was a bully to myself and anyone who was in my circle. And I'm like not afraid to admit to that. But it is painful because there's a lot of painful things that I have said. But she was just there every step of the way. And like when I had my second suicide attempt after leaving the domestic violence relationship with my ex, she was the first person I told that I relapsed, and I told her what I did. I tried to crash my car on this very busy, long, kind of interstate-based street in Chicago that's 4 lanes, and surprisingly, it was empty, but it was icy. And I told her the whole plan and I tried to do it. But surprisingly, thank God that every time I yanked the steering wheel to crash into a light pole, because I didn't want to hurt anyone else. I just wanted to be just me, myself, and I in that
Yep.
situation. But every time I yanked the steering wheel, the car just kept going straight. And after the third time, I'm just like, man, fuck this. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go home. And I saw my dad first, and he was drunk, and I told him I wanted a drink, but I told him the reason why I came to his house before I went to my mom's house is because I wanted to see future me in the flesh. I was like, I'm going to be an alcoholic
No.
if I get this drink today. Like, if I just tried to end my life and I want a drink and I know the why I want that drink, I know that one drink is going to lead to a life of me being an alcoholic. I need to go see my dad because we're built the same. We look very identical. Well, kind of identical. And as soon as he opened the door, barely can stand up. He got jokes out of this world. He's very misogynistic, very homophobic, very male chauvinist. So when I told him about what happened with the relationship, there's a lot of certain views that he had. But he set a bottle of whiskey in between us. And even though I told him while I was there, and I told him that literally I'm here to look at future me and I'm here to talk to you about what I went through. Because him and my mom was in a domestic violence relationship.
Yeah.
They used to hit each other, they used to beat each other. There's a lot of trauma there. And now I'm old enough where I can have that conversation with him about it without being beat myself. So sitting there with him, and I told him that I'd rather drink this Gatorade. I went and got Gatorade instead, and I'm sitting there sipping, and I like see the bottle of whiskey. I don't remember what it was. I think it was Jameson, but he was like, "You can have a shot. It's fine." He's like, "Grown men need a drink." He was like, "Emotions, fuck the emotions. Like, grown men need a drink."
Wow.
And he was like, "You need to be proud of yourself for not killing yourself in your car. So if you want a shot, I'll pour you out a shot for you." But he's like, "I ain't gonna force you, but I'll leave it right there for you. I ain't gonna judge you. I ain't gonna tell your mom. It's
Wow.
cool." And he was like, drinking keeps him alive. So he was like, "It's fine. No bullshit with that." Like literally his exact words. And he talked to me about the whole, basically about kind of how him and my mom got into this very toxic relationship and how he kind of failed us. But he was like, a lot of those things were true. A lot of the things that he said when he was drunk, he said it was true. A lot of those things that he wished he didn't have kids. He wished he wasn't in a relationship. He wished he didn't have those responsibilities. And so I got to really see like the pinnacle of why my dad is an alcoholic and why he kind of holds himself with all of these shadows, with all of this darkness in him, and why he kind of became this person that was once loving into this person who ended up being this abusive partner, father, husband for 17, 23, however many years my mom wants to count it, because she counts it differently each time I ask her. Um, but after leaving him, I decided to go see my mom, and I told her everything. Told her absolute everything. I trusted her. I didn't call any family members. I didn't call my brother because I didn't trust them. Last time I had a suicide attempt, everyone made fun of me. It was like, "Oh, why would you do something so stupid? Or why would you want to do something so stupid? You know we care about you." And I was like, "I understand y'all care about me." And there's like, "That's just so dumb. That's so selfish of you." And I'm just like, "Damn, you guys making me feel really bad." about just having this unbearable pain. It's a very unbearable pain. But my mom was just there and receptive the whole time. She's crying, I'm crying. We giving each other a hug, and she's like, "You can't go back to that apartment." She was like, "You're gonna move out this weekend." My ex at that time, she was in she had went to the burbs to go lie and fabricate a whole story about what actually happened. So she's like, while she's in the burbs, you should go get your car. You're gonna move out. You go get your best friend, which is my childhood best friend, Alex. You go get him. You guys are gonna move your shit out. You're gonna move back home. Your room is still there. We're gonna end this, and then next week we should talk about counseling. And I did exactly that. And next week, I did check myself into counseling. Instead of the first time where I was really reluctant to go to counseling and I hated the first couple of sessions of counseling, but it ended up working out and saving my life and her saving my life. The second time, I was like, yes, I relapsed and I nearly ended my life in my car and I could have killed other people.
Yeah.
I'm checking into counseling next week. I'm also working a full time job. I'm a senior in college. I'm finna graduate college. I thought about dropping out of school, but luckily, because of the money that I was making, that was paying the bills, I used that money to fund counseling. And I mean that having I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for her being so open and receptive and just listening. She just stayed quiet until I finished explaining, and then she started to talk, just be comforting. She didn't bully me for having those thoughts or those choices or even being in a relationship. She cracks jokes now about the relationship, but she just was really there and present and made sure that she had, like, I had her undivided attention.
Yeah.
And even as I was recovering, she checked in always, just like, hey, how are you doing? Like, you okay? Or if you're not okay, you want to talk about it.
Oh,
I think that's important, is to consistently check in after a suicide attempt, check in even months later, days later, weeks later, because it's still an ongoing kind of thought. It's like, why am I here?
every day's a battle. Every day. But look at you now. That's the
Yeah.
reason why you are here is to help others. Admire.
Yes, and that's the reason why. Yes, and that's the reason why we're here to help. To me and you and Mama Todd is here
Yeah.
to use.
It's
We found out
that
the
I
hard way.
met you, and now me and you are working together to help save other people.
Thousands of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, one person at a time. That's
Bigger and bigger.
always my goal. Is as long as I'm helping that one person out there, that matters to me. But me and you, with the family, I mean, we've touched thousands of people. I mean, and I love having you a part of the community because you get to share your story, your testimony to this world, and it's it's hard that we found out the hard way that this is the way that was going to show us that there was purpose in those tears, those years that me and you've cried, those traumas that we've been through, the unspeakable things that has happened to us, those atrocities. um, Took a long time, and it took a lot of work and trying to hold on, being like, okay, I woke up today, damn it. I remember I said that once. I was like, damn it, I woke up today. I'm
I
like, fuck,
remember
man.
seeing it for myself too. I remember. But look at us
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And we're testaments to that. Is there any message of hope that you have for anyone who's going through or supporting someone who's a survivor of sex trafficking, or someone who's a survivor of sexual assault or domestic violence, or even just what message of hope do you have for the healing hearts out there in this world?
Okay. I know what you went through is the most worst, horriblest experience that you could ever go through. You feel gross. You feel ashamed. You don't think you can go on. but you can. I've done it multiple times over, and there are others that have too. Hang in there. You are not alone. I hate to say it, this is the worst way to put it, but if you're kind of like a part of a special club of sisters and brothers that have been through it together, we've all gone through it. And those that have gone through it can reach out and be there for each other. Just remember, there is, I hate to say it's cliche, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is.
Yes.
There is. Because I remember like taking a shower to where it was scalding hot just to try to even get that feeling,
Feel something.
to feel something, to get that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me doing this with you, Josh, has helped in so much of my healing that I've healed a lot more than I've had in a long time. It's made me stronger. So go out and join something like what we are. Go, besides counseling, go and there's walks, there's like, and they're like once a year, there's like a walk that you can do. There's groups.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there that will help you heal. One thing that
Yes.
helps me heal every day besides Josh and Admireware is my bearded dragon, Mr. Kirby Sage. Yeah, he's everything.
Pervy Sage is cool. I mean, I love seeing photos of him. She's just chilling out.
Yeah.
And there is light at the end of the tunnel. I remember I used to hate that saying, like, oh, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
I hate it. There's rainbow after
Yeah.
rain. Although,
Yeah.
but it's true.
It is.
It.
And I think one thing that people forget to mention when they're talking with someone about who's struggling is that people say that it gets better with time, but I realize that like time doesn't mean much. Like I can spend 10 years and not put in effort and expect that there's going to be a result. But because I didn't put in the work, there's going to be no results besides what I started, because it's going to be in the same situation that I was 10 years
Exactly.
prior. I learned that it actually, like, when I talking to people, even when I talk to myself, it's like, if I want that resort, if I want to wake up in the morning and be able to drive my car, it's the same car. I didn't change cars. Being able to drive this car and not want to crash it, I need to put into work, in the work to take care of myself, to find meaning in why I should be alive tomorrow. Why should I be alive today? Or why should I continue fighting for something that seems so far and unreachable? It takes putting in that work. It takes figuring out what does that work look like? Does that mean that I need to wake up an hour before everyone in my house wake up and just meditate? Does it mean that I need to figure out, should I go to counseling? Does that mean I need to take medicine? Does it mean that I need to change my hair a certain way, change my wardrobe a certain way? I changed my whole wardrobe.
Yeah.
And that, even though most of my wardrobe was Admireware, but that was curated. Like a lot of those ideas was curated from how I changed my wardrobe in building my own self-confidence, is realizing that, like, okay, I'm like, I think I'm starting to like this certain thing.
Hence
And
why
one
I
thing
changed
that I got,
my whole look. I had longer hair, like to my shoulders. I decided to shave it on the side and then dye it and then shave it on the other side. Because you only live once. Have some fun with yourself.
yeah, yeah,
Tattoos help
and it's
heal.
only you. Yeah, tattoos do help, and I've actually, um, I have my self-inflicted scar. I wrote a number. I carved the number 14 on my shoulder. 14, it stands for all of the romantic mistakes that I've made in my life. And those not even relationships. Those are just me dating people and them treating me so horribly like shit that I didn't want to be alive. So it was like the 14 people who I thought who I can love and care for made me wish that I actually shouldn't be alive in this world. And I carved that number into me as an example that we're not gonna do this shit no more. Like that was just me at that time. It was like, all right, we at number 14. We're not doing this no more. You're a hopeless romantic, Josh. We're not doing
I
this
see
no
you
more.
finding your
But
partner
I
just like I
realized that
found
that was
mine.
you said what?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I see you
No, go for it.
finding a happy person just like I found mine. Everyone has a
Yes.
person. You just haven't found
Yes.
it yet.
I haven't found mine yet, and that's fine. And in that recovery from the writing that number 14, I regretted it. Like after a while, I was like, "Yo, you didn't have to actually do that."
No.
But when I had the money, I ended counseling. I started at Admireware September 2021. A month later, October, I got the tattoo. I got the sleeve
Mhm.
and I got a whole rose sleeve that covers this whole side, and it covers a lot of my surgical scars that I've gotten from falling. It covers that, so it's a fat rose, a fat red rose that covers that number 14, and it means so much to me to not just cover it, just like oh, so people doesn't see it, but it's like I healed that part. I healed that part. I gave myself the love that I always wanted from someone else. I had to realize that that love that I always wanted from someone else started with me. I had to learn how to give that love to myself and be able to, and then know what I want, know what I need, and know how much hard work and effort goes into keep maintaining that.
Because you only get one you.
Yeah.
Put yourself a little bit first.
Yes. And at the end of the day, when everyone leaves, if you are single or you have no family or you have no one you trust, there's only one relationship that you have that's unbreakable is you yourself and you and God or whatever belief or relationship that relationship with external belief that you have, because I'm open to everyone having their own beliefs.
Yep.
And those are the two relationships that's the strongest because everyone believes in something. I've definitely figured that out.
Yeah,
Everyone believes in something that's bigger than themselves. It's
exactly.
just not always the same thing, but they do believe in something. So I believe that if you believe in that one thing and you have to honor that relationship, but also honor relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
That will help you be able to live in those lonely, isolated nights when you might not have no one to talk to. And also, I'm going to be providing hotline and resources in the show notes for people to be able to share that with someone else. And also, each admirer order comes with a card that has mental health resources on the back of it for crisis prevention,
Which I
and
carry in
you can
my
just share that
bag
with a loved
every
one.
day, just in case somebody needs it.
Me too. Me too. I carry it in my bag, and I keep the contacts in my phone just in case I need to text it or share it with someone, or in case I need to use them myself because I'm healing. I'm healing every day as if I'm someone watching the videos that I'm making. I'm very much a AW seed as much as I am Mr. AW is what people call me. It's like, oh hey, Mr. Admirer. I'm like my name's Josh, but it's okay.
You're the rose that started us all.
And I'm growing roses from my heart to I'm using my tears to grow roses from my heart and give it to you all. And you all have been really beautiful in that healing process to give that healing back into me. And I've grown so much by just having building this community, and having this community has built me so much. And I didn't really know when that would actually happen. I knew that I had this dream. I knew that AW was going to happen. But as I've been watching it grow, I think every day I wake up and I'm just like amazed with like something beautiful that just blossomed in my DM, or some idea that I just popped out of my head from maybe a conversation that me and Christina had several months ago.
Yeah.
Like it's 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 just a beautiful experience. But
Enough
any
right
last
now
things
because
before we go?
actually helped a lot myself. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I didn't say that I could have said, but it probably would have taken more than an hour or two. But that's for next time. And admire where it is healing me so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh,
Is there any no, that's cool. Any last things that you want to say for anyone out there
yeah, don't give
before we go for the day?
don't give up. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure you eat something. I had to. I just had
you,
to.
you,
But don't give up.
I
You
got
are
you.
not alone. Me and Josh are here.
Yes.
Message us. It may take a second for us to get to you,
Yeah.
but we will get to you.
Yeah. And also, even with because I know that maybe I'm not always reachable, or maybe 988 is a little busy, which so they've been stepping up their funding so that they cannot be busy.
Yeah.
But it's really motivating for me to always make the videos. People always ask me, what is my motive behind making the content that I make? It's like, it's free messages of hope.
Yeah.
It's if you can't afford the clothing, if you can't afford a sticker, if you can't afford the poster, and if I'm not replying, you still have a message from me. Is those daily videos, is those videos I made months ago, they all have the same very similar theme. It's we're gonna get through this, and like these are ways that we can get through these really tough days. Like it's okay not to be okay majority of the time, and even I struggle. I've made videos on my hardest days, and I still show up because I know that it's going to help not only just me to get that out, but it's going to help at least one person out there and save their life. And it's definitely saved my life being with you all. I know it has saved your life, and I've read countless of testimonies from people around the world of how even just one of my 30 seconds or 10-minute long videos or one of my podcast episodes
Yeah.
have helped them just be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna give it another week. I think I'm gonna be here another day, or I think tonight's not the night. I think I'm gonna give it another go, and I'm gonna keep trying at this thing we call life that's really complicated, that's really hard. But okay, I see someone who's also fighting. So as long as they're not giving up, I'm not gonna give up. And I definitely want people to know that like I'm not giving up on anyone. I don't judge based on like personal characteristics or anything that you've done. Um, hurt people, but there's hurt people who heal people, and sometimes those hurt people who hurt people have to learn that like, oh, I can tell you about what I've gone through without hurting you. I can find a healthy way of doing that, and now we can heal together. And that's what we all do here at Admireware is
We heal
we're hurt people
together.
who heal each other.
Yeah, we
Yes,
heal
we
together.
heal together.
That's why on some of my TikToks, I recommend some other content creators that lift me up. Because if I can't do it, maybe they will too.
Yes,
So
for
hang
sure.
in there. You got this.
Yes, and love you guys always, and thank you so much for tuning in for this
Guys.
special episode of the Healing Hearts podcast. Talk to you next time. Love you.